Sawubona Mzansi. Welcome to today's live. So just to give you a quick recap on what we got up to yesterday. What we got up to yesterday in the previous live is we were testing out the Mzansi AI to see if, sorry, I'm looking a little bit white. Yeah, that's fine. So in yesterday's live, we were looking at or getting an understanding of if the Mzansi AI is intelligent or not, and how intelligent is it. So I think it was last week where we went through or got got a few questions that was generated by Gemini in order to test an LLM for their capabilities, right? So that one, it passed majority of things, but under nuance and ambiguity is where it struggles a lot. But afterwards, yesterday, we had a look at the Mzansi AI and its translation capabilities. So something interesting that we found out was that even though it translates it 90% correct most of the time, sometimes it doesn't identify the language correctly. So what it would do, like for example, we asked it to translate Sawubona Unjani. It says, oh, it's hello, how are you? But then it wouldn't say it's in Zulu, it would say it's in Afrikaans or something, or some random language, even though it translates it correctly. So that's something that I don't think we can fix at the moment. I think it's just because we're using the 4 billion parameter model. And the 4 billion parameter model is not super smart. However, we are going to look at getting Gemma 3N. So currently we're running Gemma 3, normal Gemma 3 4 billion parameter model. I'll show you a video later on, but it's the Gemma 3 4 billion parameter LLM. And there's a new one that was just released not too long ago. So it's like optimized for mobile capabilities and all of this. This was what was presented at Google I/O last week, I think on the 20th or so. And yeah, they announced a new open source model, which is Gemma 3N. And what they said is the Gemma 3N model, if you look at it's 1.5 times more powerful and more efficient, more intelligent than the Gemma 3 4 billion parameter model. So it's like they were speaking directly to me when they were telling me that the Gemma 3 model is better than the 3N model. And because it works so well on mobile hardware, it'll be perfect for us to run on our single GPU. So we're currently running it on a NVIDIA GTX 4060. Yeah, 4060 is what it's called. Sawubona Mzansi, thank you for joining. So yeah, it's running on a 4060 and it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. So when we're thinking about RAM and the size of an LLM, we have to keep in mind that if we want to use the GPU acceleration, so to make it a little bit faster and easier and more efficient to use, the size of the LLM has to be smaller than the amount of RAM that you have, right? So we'll have a look. I don't think the 3N model is out now because it was just announced, and I think they first releasing it in their own tools like the AI suite, and I think it's Vortex AI and all of this different. Google has a whole lot of different AI products that they provide to us. So we'll just give it some time. I'm sure in the next coming weeks or so, maybe next month, the 3N model should be released. And then we'll test out the translation capabilities again, and we can do the normal test that we did. We'll find a different test somewhere else just to test out the capabilities again, specifically because I don't want to retest the exact same things that we did last time. I'll check for the nuance and ambiguity section. So I'll ask it to generate more questions with nuance and ambiguity, and then we can hook it up from there and see it from there. So today what we want to do is, if you've seen the most recent video on all the social media platforms, you'll see that we are testing out or trying out new buttons inside MIH. So I'll switch my screens over. So I'll switch it here on, oh sorry, my bad. So I'll switch it over on TikTok also. Flip it. And so this is MIH. Currently, oh yes, I forgot to mention that MIH is currently on version 1.1.7. It's available on iOS also at the moment. So you can get it on the web, which I'm currently using at the moment, Android, or an iPhone, and an iPad, and anything. So Android and iOS, we're available there. The most recent update, good evening, Sawubona. So it's available. It was released this morning. We published it this morning, so you should be able to update it now. If you have any issues with MIH currently at the moment, please go on to the About MIH tile. I'll show you that now. So look for the About MIH tile. Once you click on that, Sawubona everyone. Once you click on that, please look for version 1.1.7. And if you're not on this version, all you have to do is click on the either install, or if I show you the Android version, let me just bring that over. If I show you the Android version, you'll have an update button. So you don't have to go to the Play Store and then go check, okay, let me search for Mzansi Innovation Hub, then come all the way down. You don't need to do that. All you have to do is open up MIH, then click on the About MIH tile. The About MIH tile is here at the bottom. Thank you so much for the heart, Jay. Sorry I missed it. So you'll click on the About MIH tile. You'll click on Update MIH. And depending on the device that you're using, it'll take you directly through to the Play Store of the Play Store listing of MIH. So it's just a way to streamline you updating MIH. So what we wanted to discuss today is the buttons. So what I've been doing, let me show you what I've been doing first. So what I've been doing, it's not in 1.1.7, it's going to be released in 1.1.8. This is just the development environment. You can see it says localhost at the top. So that's just running on my computer. This is the development environment. But what I want to show you is the new menu button that was released for the Mzansi wallet, which has your X and it also has your menu button. We've put this all across MIH now. So if we go to our patient manager, and if we open up this one, you'll see it follows the same trend. If we go to, which one is it? Let's go to this one here. One of our documents, right? If we go there, you'll see that it has the new window, and it has the new close button and the new menu button. So if you click on this, it'll give you a drop down of all of your options that you can do. So you can, for this particular one, you can either download, print, or make it full screen and close it, right? So it's just aligning the UI and everything in order to just make it a little bit cleaner and less unprofessional. I don't know if that's the correct word to use or not, but that's what we did. So even if you look under the Mzansi AI, if we search for this, you'll see that there's no longer a speaker button at the top right hand corner when it's ready to speak to you. I'm not sure why TikTok is not so nice, but you see there's a new menu button, and if you click on this menu button, it now says read aloud, just like what Google's Gemini does. So if we click on this,
waving hand, it's great to hear from you. What can I help you with today? Do you have a question, or will you just say hello smiling face with smiling eyes and rosy cheeks?
Right, so you see there's no longer a speaker button there. It's now hidden inside a menu option. So this is the UI across MIH in the new update, which would be 1.1.8. Currently 1.1.7 is what we are using. Another thing that we were looking at is the new buttons. If you've seen the video that was released today, we sent out a poll just asking if you enjoy or if you're liking how specific buttons, the new buttons that we're adding into MIH are looking. So let me just expand this, zoom this out. So this is also just a development environment. This is the Android emulator. You can get an Android emulator if you download, what's this app called? If you download Android Studio, inside Android Studio, there's emulators there that you can download and use. But you have to have the right hardware requirements in order to utilize that. But let's go back to MIH. And what I want to do is to show you the new buttons. So under the development environment, you'll see that there's a test icon. If you're using MIH in production or that's live at the moment, you won't see this test. This is just for me for testing out specific functionalities. So if you look at the top of the screen, don't worry about the things at the bottom. It's more test things that I have available, right? So if you look at the top of the screen, I have a new button that is there. So if let's open up this one. So if you see this button over here, if you click on it, there's no animation, there's no anything over there, right? It's just a flat button. When you click on it, it triggers an action. But if we have a look at the new buttons, you'll see that there's a slight 3D animation of you pressing the button down. And also what we can do is we can have icons inside the button for us. So it doesn't only have to be text anymore. It can also be buttons, right? And if we go back, what's the area that I want to show you? One of the ones that got a huge overhaul just by updating the buttons, because across MIH we're just using one type of button. We're just changing the colors and changing the text on it, right? So if you look at the calculator, look how clean the calculator is looking now with this new update. So you'll see that it looks like an actual 3D calculator. I don't know how, but it's looking quite cool. And if you look at the bottom at this red one over here, you'll see that we removed the D to represent delete, and we have a backspace button now. If you look at your Google, your Google calculator that's pre-installed on all phones, you'll see that they also have something like this in there. So now we're aligning to the industry standard, if I can call it that. So you'll see if I press the AC, you can see how the button gets pressed down. It looks like you're actually pressing into something, which is quite cool. And I didn't build this on my own. I just want to make you aware of that. So remember I told you that I use Flutter. So I use, not Flutter icons, sorry. So I use Flutter as the front end framework. Flutter. There's it, Flutter, build your apps, right? So I use Flutter as the front end framework for MIH, right? So a lot of companies do it. There's a lot of benefits with using Flutter. One of the benefits is implementing your app across multiple devices, like how you can see MIH is on the web, Android, and iOS. There is some work, but it's less work than if you're doing it natively or using some other tool. So because I'm using Flutter, there is a place called pub.dev, right? So what is pub.dev? So pub.dev is the community around Flutter all come together and they'll build it's called a widget. So everything, so for example, if we look at the buttons inside MIH over here, you'll see that this button itself is a widget. So when I say widgets, it's any element on the screen. This back button is a widget, this is a widget, this text is a widget, this line is a widget, everything over here is a widget, right? So when we're talking in terms of Flutter, everything is a widget. So what happens in pub.dev is there's packages that we can use and import into our package, just like a normal Python import. And it's all free. There's different licenses over here. And you can just search for something that you want. Like I think the last time I was showing you, I think it's Flutter TTS maybe. Text to speech, there's a Flutter text to speech, Flutter Azure text to speech. So you can see all of these things are available for us. If I click on the first one, and if we look on the side, you'll see here's the license. It's currently under the MIT license. If we go to MIH, and let's ask MIH or the Mzansi AI, what is the MIT license? Please explain the MIT license, right? So I would ask it, oh, hello, please explain what the MIT software software license is. Look at the speed, guys. Look at that speed. Now we'll use our new menu button. I'll click on it. Read aloud.
Hi there. Let's talk about the MIH software license. Essentially, because you're using the MIH app, which includes all its features, you're granted a free, personal license to use
Oh,
it. It's designed...
I'm sorry. I typed MIH license over here. My bad. My bad. Please explain what the MIT license, am I spelling that correctly? License is MIT, not MIH. Okay, this is much better. There's not hallucinating garbage for us. Quite a long story, but not a problem. So what is the license? Let's listen. We won't listen to the whole thing, we'll just listen to some of it.
The MIT license is one of the most popular and permissive open source licenses. Here's a detailed explanation. What is the MIT license? The MIT license is a short and simple license agreement that allows people to use, copy, modify, merge, publish, distribute, sublicense, and or sell the software if they meet a single condition. Include the original copyright notice and license text. That's it. It's remarkably straightforward. Key features and what it means. Permissive, this is the key word. The MIT...
Okay, I'll close it from there. But that's what the MIT license is, right? So basically, you can use the software in whatever way you want for commercial, personal, whatever kind of use. You can make money off of the software that has this license, and you don't need to owe the creator of the license anything because of this type of license, right? So if we have a look over here at pub.dev, there is Flutter TTS 422, right? If we have a look here, this has the MIT license, so I can pull this into my project. I'm currently using this Flutter TTS in order for MIH to speak to us, or the Mzansi AI to speak to us. So in order for us to create the buttons, what we did is we went back to pub.dev and we were looking for different buttons. There's no need to recreate the wheel when someone has already created it for you, right? And you can just utilize it. And if we look again over here, at the bottom, the license for the software is also MIT license, right? So if you have a look, this is what this package offers us. So we can have different buttons. You can see it's the exact same thing as MIH. I just tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit easier for me to understand, or for me to utilize this all the time, right? So you can see this is the button that we use. They even give code examples of how it all works. So if we have a look at, from here down to somewhere over here, so you can see animated button. That's all I have to do. So this is a widget itself, the animated button. Sorry, the screen is blurry. The animated button is here, and this is the properties of that button. So we did something similar or we integrated this button into MIH. So now you can see at the calculator how fancy it looks. The 3D effects that are now in MIH. Slowly but surely we are making the UI feel and look a little bit better, right? 9 times 5 equals. So you can see all the buttons do click and they are quite nice. I'll test it out to see, do you know Lovable AI? Nope, what exactly, Neo? So there was a question from Neo over on TikTok. So one of the members of Mzansi was asking, do I know Lovable AI? So let's have a look at what Lovable AI. So build something lovable. Great idea to app in seconds. So I search, it builds apps and sites from prompt. So thanks so much for making us aware of this. I know this is something that's gaining popularity at the moment, but the thing that I don't like about AI building or coding from scratch and not building on top of your code is because a lot of technical debt. So it's fine to say build a, so let's say build a calculator that calculates or that adds two numbers, right? Make it simple, two numbers. Let's see what it does. Oh my word. So let's give it some time. It's just signing us in. Skip all of this. Skip. Okay, build. So we're going to check over here. So I'll explain why I don't like tools like this. So build a calculator that adds two numbers, right? This is a simple app that you can create. Okay, so it's doing something. This is the first time I'm using this tool or using an app. I made a chess app from it. It works quite well, but I want to learn how to code. Exactly. So I'll explain why I don't use it. Let this generate quickly. But from my side, when you have, or if you're building a small application that serves one functionality, right? Like this calculator app. So what is this? Install. Okay, so you can see it built us an application, right? To, what's the first number? Let's say 500. The second number, 200. Calculate. So it gives us the result, right? So this application works perfectly fine right now. But say I want to add another feature onto this app, and then another feature, and then another feature. What's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of technical debt. So technical debt is basically if I change one part of my application, an unrelated part of my application breaks because somehow they are interconnected, and changing one part completely breaks the whole application. So I would rather use AI to assist me. So I'll open up VS Code. So I'll show you what I use, and it's quite easy to look at. So I'll open up my test package over here. Yeah, so this is the test package, right? So you can see here's my click me buttons. It's basically everything that we are looking at over on the test thing, over on this one here, right? So you can see click me with a bin. So here's all the click me's over here, right? So another thing that I could do over here, let me see if I can do it. So it's kind of crazy when you're coding and like coding with an AI. Yeah, it ends up not working. Exactly. So you'll end up adding multiple features, and now you want to build a whole Facebook or Google using coding AIs, but then the technical debt is going to hold you back. So let's say I want to add a space in between this click me and I have a delete button. So that's if we look over here, it's, what color is the button? The button's color is success. So it should be a green button, right? So let's say I want to add a space over here. I would just start typing, let's say sized, or if I can spell sized box. And then you see how it auto-filled in width of 10. Because in this code base of mine, it understands my code that is inside over here. And then it also aligns things. So all I have to do now is press tab. So I didn't type out this width :10, right? But the AI recommended it for me, right? Another thing that I like using is if you're using VS Code, it automatically comes with a Copilot. So this is a coding Copilot. So let me say, so what I'll do over here is, I'll do the exact same thing that I just showed you, but what I'll do now is I'll copy this code over here, and then I'll paste it into this chat window. If you have a look at the bottom of the screen here, it shows that file that I'm currently viewing. So it sends the file to the AI, and the AI has context of the file that I'm currently using. It's like Cursor, exactly. I think Microsoft saw what Cursor is doing, and then they got a little bit jealous, and they released Copilot. And then what they even did now, Microsoft also had an event last week. I think all the tech companies are all having events right now. What Microsoft did is they made Copilot, this functionality in VS Code, open source. So VS Code itself, everything over here is open source. The UI, the tool is open source, but this wasn't open source previously, but now it's open source. So you're going to see a lot more applications like Cursor and like VS Code, like I think OpenAI just bought another one now recently, but things like that. So let me paste. So what I want to do is, let me remove this. I'll paste in that code, that from my code, and say I want to, let me go enter. And let me say, okay, I think I did nonsense. Let me stop this. Let me say I want to add a space between the icon and text of, and then I'll just paste the code over there, right? So I told the AI exactly what I want to do over here. So I'm currently using Gemma 2.0 Flash. I don't want to use that one. I want to use maybe 4.1. So there's multiple things that we can use over here. So I'll send it my code, I'll send it my question, and it's going to start thinking. Now it's using, you see, it gave me the exact same code that it recommended before. And it even told me, just add this line for spacing. So I would rather use this tool over here than use full autonomous AI generators, right? AI app generators. That's kind of suspect to me. Sorry, some app is trying to install over here. So yeah, I would rather use this over here because now it's my code firstly over here. So I understand all of this code. And then it's also giving me exactly where to add this code and also aligning the code that it's suggesting to me similar to the code that I use. So how did it know that I like 10? Because if I look across my app, you'll see size block of height 10. So it can see throughout my code, I like using the spacing of 10 for different things. You see height 10. So then it automatically recommended me the width of 10. Flutter is nice. What are you using for state management? At the moment, going off of hopes and dreams for state management, but it is something on our roadmap that we are looking at. What I want to first look at is, I think it's called provider. So provider is what I want to use, provider Flutter. Yeah, there's it over here. So I have to first learn how to use this. I think it'll take like a good 2 weeks or so to use. How much it costs to publish your app. So my application is running. My application is running on our own hardware. So if we have a look at so remember the videos previously when I was working on the new MIH server, that's our own hardware. So we're not paying for cloud providers to host our application. We're hosting it ourselves. So the current, I'm actually trying Riverpod. Nice, so I'll get to that now, but the cost for the application is 0 because we are hosting it ourselves on our own hardware. So the operational cost, the cost of getting the hardware of course is there, but the operational cost is now just internet access. So it's how much is my internet costing per month, right? That's currently what's the cost of operations with MIH. And that's because we decided to not use, or it's because we decided to only use open source and free technologies for MIH, right? That's why I'm using Flutter, because everything is open source and free to use over there. That's why I using Docker. It's open and free to use. That's why I'm using so many different tools. So the cost is much less than if you were hosting it on like AWS or on Azure and stuff. So with provider, so the reason why I'm not jumping into Riverpod directly is because I feel like Riverpod is for advanced users, and I don't think I'm there yet in terms of state management. That's a new concept to me. I heard about it a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time that I've heard it. So it's something that I will work on later, but I am following the MIH roadmap. I don't want to deviate from the MIH roadmap to do other things that's going to take more time. So at the moment, we upgraded and migrated over to the new MIH server. We then updated the AI model that we're using for more speed and more intelligence. And then now what we are doing is, just fixing some UI and UX stuff, like the button that I'm showing you here. So I see there's another comment over on TikTok from Neo again. Sorry, wait, I want to check up on this. Okay, so yeah, Riverpod is advanced. I'll get to that later. But if you were to publish it from a different host, how much would it cost on average? Uh, that's a very good question. So it would only cost, I don't know the costing models of like Amazon and AWS or Azure or something, AWS costing. So the reason why I don't know is if I open up my project, so the UI and front end and all of that is using Docker Compose. So if I wanted to host it on AWS and stuff, I would just transfer this whole project over and run my Docker Compose file. So you can see I have my API hub and I have all these things. So it's already there. So I don't think it would increase my costs or anything. But what I'm afraid of is once we get a lot of users, then it's going to be a thing of now I'm gonna be charged like thousands per day. So I would rather have my own hardware and then manage the cost myself instead of getting like sneaky costs from AWS. I've heard of stories of people speaking about they forgot to turn off some setting in AWS or Azure, and then the next minute they're being charged thousands, right? So I don't want anything like that. So I'd rather manage it all myself. And it's also something about the learning experience. So how to create a server, how to deploy an application, all of those kind of things. So one day in the future, I can be my own AWS if this is what AWS is providing. What is scaling and how does it work? So scaling. So let's say, let me flip my camera. So the question that was asked is what is scaling and how does it work? So let's say you start up a new AWS instance inside AWS, and then I'm sure if we have a look over here, let's hosting plans. So they would give you a specific bandwidth and how much traffic can come to your site, right? And then, like say for example, there's only 100 people using the application at this point in time, and the free tier of AWS work because it's only that much bandwidth that they're giving you, and 100 people are fine with that much bandwidth, right? But then say you move over to 1,000, 2,000, and your app starts increasing. Like what's that app? The Nova app that's blowing up now, right? So their app, like now they have like the last I heard it was like 50,000 or so, right? So if you're using the bandwidth that has 50,000, and now all 50,000 people are coming to your application through the small bandwidth, then it's going to cause lag, it's going to cause slowdown. The user experience the user experience is going to be extremely bad because your site is going to be slow because it's going to let one at a time. But then you have to scale. You would tell Amazon, no, I need more processing power, I need more bandwidth, I need more more storage, more hardware capabilities, all of these things to increase the pipeline of users can come in, and then all 50,000 can come through and there'll be no issues. Yeah, so that's how it work. So you would just pay more depending on how they have it. I'm looking at so they do have on-demand pricing. So it's called Amazon. Let me flip this over and switch over here. So it's called Amazon EC2 on-demand pricing, right? So EC2 is like an AWS thing. I'm not sure what exactly it stands for, but I know it's like a server over here. So on-demand pricing. So you can select your region over here, let's say Cape Town, South Africa, the type of operating system, general purpose, all of this is all, you see here's it over here. I think this is where it starts going up, virtual CPUs, right? So how many CPUs do you want? So say with your 100 users, one CPU is fine, but then you need to increase it to say 4 CPUs to deal with 50,000 people, right? Once you add that up, then you'll see how much, or if we expand this, then you can see this is your, you see network performance 5 gigabits, EBS, I don't know what's EBS storage, you have 16 gigs of RAM and this is the hourly rate that you're going to pay for it, right? And it's in dollars, right? So as your, like say we increase this to something else, then it'll start, that's how it works. So as you want more hardware capability from Amazon, they'll provide you with that with a premium cost, of course. Let's flip over here. So what I wanted to discuss, sorry about that. If there's any other questions, please let me know. So what I wanted to discuss is these buttons. So if you've seen the video, what do you think about them? So I was showing you the, let me close this. So we use the animated button package from Flutter, and we tweaked it a bit to give us these buttons that we're using now. So you can see the animations there. And it looks a little bit more, it's like it's standing out on the screen for us. If we go back, and where you can see it the best is over here, right? The calculator. So you can see the calculator looks like it's 3D now. And you can press buttons down, and it even looks quite cool, right? So what do you guys think of this button? I'm gonna add a poll over here. How do I get those things again? Poll and vote. So it's gonna be a quick poll. Put, I think it's the crying face or smiling face. It's gonna be 60 seconds, so vote now. Be quick. So let me know what you think of these buttons. And also, if you don't like it, or if you like it, what do you like, what don't you like? And just let me know what's your thoughts on these buttons. Should I change it? Should I not? Are they fine? I'll show you in the About MIH section. So this is just inside MIH itself. So you see here's the two buttons over here under the About MIH section. So it does look slightly, so you can see you can press it. So it looks like it's pressable. It looks like it's elevated. And it is clickable, right? So let me know, what do you think? Love it? So you're liking the buttons? Nice. So I'm also liking them. And what I'm liking a lot is I didn't have to reinvent the wheel because I'm using animated button, right? That's something that has the MIT license, which is quite cool. So we just tweaked it ourselves, and we have something a little bit more, what's this word? Elegant. I think I want to use the word elegant, a little bit more elegant. But is it too much? That's what I'm struggling to figure out. Is it too much of a, for the whole animation thing? So if we go to the calculator, is all of this button pressing too much? I think it's perfect, but I'm not the only one using MIH, right? So let me know, leave your comments to say, no, I like the buttons, I don't like it, it's looking cool. I'll also, currently I'm using it on my computer with a mouse, and it's really not the best experience trying to use the Android emulator with the mouse. You can see over here, there's the buttons also under the tip calculator. So you can enter it in, it also has the clickable stuff. Alright. So you can see it's like it's being pushed down. Nice. So I think I'm about halfway through with it. I've done, what have I done? So I'm making sure that it's aligned across all the different buttons, and I'm not using the old buttons. So for example, if we have a look at the attribution section, you'll see it has the new buttons also, new clickable buttons. All right, to take us to visit the artist. If we, where am I using other button? I think under here. So you see, this is the old button. Yeah, this is the old button. You see there's no effect, doesn't look 3D, just a flat square on the screen. So I definitely think that it is excuse me, it is adding a little touch of flavor into MIH to make things look a little bit better. I think someone said MIH looks a little bit scammy because it's so plain. So I am looking at things, but I know people expect a super overhaul overnight, but we are slowly moving through it, like our new windows. I'll show you a better example of the window if we go to the wallet. Our new window, which has the close button and it has the menu button with the drop down of all our options, right? So this, we've aligned it across MIH. I think it makes our windows look a lot more better inside MIH, way better than it previously looked. So that's what we did. Now we're on buttons. So the normal buttons. After the buttons, what I think I'm gonna do is I want to fix the search stuff. So there's multiple searches across MIH. You'll see there's a search by loyalty cards, there's a search by the home. If we go to our business side, we can search users over here. We can search users. So all of the search functionality that's spread, or the search widget, I don't know what else to call it, component, that are across MIH, I want to align them and I want to look at something a little bit better than this. So what I was looking at is what are some design norms. So search bar design examples. So I was looking through these things just to have before I tackle what the search needs to look like, let me see what's like the standards of the search, right? Like what are searches supposed to look like? Instead of me just thinking of my head and creating something that people don't really want to use. Or people don't know how to use them, the search, because it's not familiar with what they currently are aware of. So all of these searches currently look kind of boring to me. This one is kind of interesting. But yeah, that's what I want to work on next. So just small things inside MIH that are scattered across the application. And yeah, it's just old stuff. When I first started working on MIH, I was using a lot of YouTube videos and I was copying a lot of code from them and not understanding what exactly is going on. But now that it's almost a year that I've been working on MIH, so I have more knowledge, I have more skills. Do you have ads in your app? Not at the moment, not at the moment. So it is something that I am considering, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to have ads in nonsense positions, like have a big ad here at the bottom of the screen, or have an ad every time you click on something, or an ad that surprises you. I absolutely hate those apps that do that to you, where, like, say I play a Sudoku game. So after every Sudoku game that I play, it gives me 3 different ads that I have to dismiss. I don't want that in MIH, because if I have that in MIH, or if I were to use MIH as a normal user and not the creator of MIH, I would just delete that application immediately, close it, delete it, and get rid of it. So what I'm thinking of, because I do want to add ads in somehow, but I want to put it in strategic places across MIH. So one of the ideas that I was thinking of is, because the Mzansi wallet is one of the popular apps, so most of the people are using this. So if we open this up, maybe an ad that pops up at the bottom over here underneath the barcode. So it's not very intrusive. The close button is not right next to this ad. And it's, I think, accidental clicks. Because some people code for accidental clicks knowing that your fingers are fat. Because I have fat fingers, right? So now imagine I'm trying to close something. I'm trying to close this, but then there's an ad right below it. Then I click on it, and then I'm clicking the ad. I don't want any of that inside MIH, because that's the worst. That's the worst way for someone to develop an application, because they're not developing the application out of passion or out of solving the need for you. They're doing it just to get money from you through ads, right? So what I was thinking is, because this is something that is utilized a lot, so a lot of traffic comes through here, so maybe have a little small ad banner at the bottom, something not so intrusive. But again, I haven't done any research on this yet. I'm only thinking about where to put it. What's the best way to put it instead of how to put it into the application? How to put it in, there's AI that can help me with that. There's videos that can help me, but where to put it is quite important for a specific user, right? So I was thinking just underneath here, I have a little ad. So every time you open the wallet and use it, you are contributing to to the MIH funds, which would be nice, right? So yeah, that's it. So are we liking the buttons, guys? I like this calculator too much now. For some reason, it's looking extra juicy, extra crispy. Let's see what it looks like here. It's looking even nice over here. Hey, hey. Did you study IT or learn how to code on your own? So, thank you so much for that question. So, if we head over to the About MIH section, right? And if we scroll down just a little bit after the our mission and all of this, the install buttons and all of that stuff, you'll see that this is me, right? This is an old picture, but this is me. So I did study computer science. Let's open up this one. So I did study. Sorry. Let's bring this down. So this is me. I did study a BSc Computer Science and Information Systems, right, at the University of the Western Cape. But that the course was not really a programming course, if I can say that. They did teach you programming, but then they taught you data structures. They taught you a whole lot of other concepts around computer science and programming, and yeah, so I did study over there. However, everything that everything that I'm using inside MIH, I learned on my own. So if we open up my editor again, so every single thing Docker, I had to learn from scratch. They didn't teach me Docker at varsity. The language that I'm using, so you can see my file name is dot, right? So even though Flutter is the framework that I'm using, the language that I'm using is dot. So I haven't programmed this language before. This is the first time I'm programming this language, so I had to learn it on my own. The concepts about servers, networking, all of these other things, we touched on it in varsity just a little bit. However, it was just a brief introduction. So this is like a deep dive. Having something pushed out into production is a different ball game than just having something on localhost or having a dev environment, if you can call it that. So I did study computer science, but all the information that I used, or all the tools that I used inside MIH to create MIH, I learned it from scratch when I started it off, and just used. And also AI is a great tool. I feel like I'm an expert now at AI because I use it so much on a daily basis, like how to phrase questions, how to do all of those different things. Also, another tool that I use that I have no idea of is Olama. So I spoke about this in other videos. So this is how we are bringing you Mzansi AI. We're using the Olama technology. So if you can see that there is Gemma 3. If we click on Gemma 3, this is the one that I'm using at the moment. If we go to the, where do I select the model? 4 billion parameter, latest. If you have a look over here, this is the tool that I'm using to bring you Olama. I didn't learn this in varsity. I learned this on my own, watching YouTube videos, asking Gemini, because I like using Gemini as my AI assistant, if you can call it that, and things. So yeah, everything I learned was on my own using just the free tools available out there. And also another thing, if you are thinking about creating your own application, before you go headfirst into paid for technologies, like for example, there is a thing called Firebase. So Firebase is from Google, right? Let's say Firebase. If you want to use Firebase, it's like a backend as a service, if I can call it that, right? So it's basically make your app at the best, whatever, right? So this has databases built inside, it has authentication built inside, everything built inside. But where they get you is, oh my word, where they get you is the pricing, right? So they'll say, yeah, there's no cost at all at first, but then so you see, this is the Spark. Let me increase this so I can see all of it. Right? So the Spark plan has no cost, but then there's a whole lot of things that aren't available. So you see uncached, cached, you aren't able to do that. You aren't able to, so once your app starts increasing, so you see authentication, so you can only have, for this one in particular, if you're using Firebase, you can only have 50,000 active users, right? I know it seems like a lot, but like say you grow to the levels of a Meta, right? Or an Instagram, and they have millions of people using the application at a time. So now if I build my foundation of my application on Firebase and it gets so big, then now I have to move over to different plans. And this is just the bronze plan over here. And as you start growing, the costs start increasing, right? So you can see there's it over here. I was even testing things out over here way back in the days, right? If we go to another tool to look out for is Superbase, right? Super easy tool to use. But once again, we have costs. So you're going to be all happy with the free and ease of use of this tool until there is more than 50,000 active users. Say, for example, the Nova app, right? If they use something like a Superbase and they're on 50,000 now, they have to move over from the free plan, which is $0 a month, now over to $25 a month. And I think myself, MIH is not generating that much money a month in order for me to pay for this cost at the moment, right? So I would rather steer away from this and use other tools. So what I mean is use other tools is, so we saw Superbase. So I'm just talking about authentication now, right? Superbase and all these things for authentication. Now you have super tokens. So what exactly is super tokens? So quick start. How do I want to get to their thingy. Open source user authentication. So what open source, or let's see, for those that don't know what open source is, let's ask them, Zanzi AI, what is open source? All right. And then we can hear from it before we continue. What does it mean to be open sourced? So you can see this is our new window. Again, we'll click on it, read aloud.
Hey there, let's tackle what open source means. Basically, when something is open source, it means the source code, the underlying instructions that make it work, is freely available for anyone to use, study, modify, and distribute. Think of it like a recipe. With a normal recipe, you just follow the steps. With an open source recipe, you can see exactly how it's made, change the ingredients, and even share your modified version with others. It's a fantastic way to collaborate and build things together. Would you like me to elaborate on this topic further, perhaps explaining how it relates to the MIH app?
Right, so that is what it is, what it means to be open source, right? It's free to use. You can go look at the code and see what's there. So you see, if I click on this over here, and this is the GitHub logo. If I click on that GitHub logo, it takes me to the source code of super tokens, right? Open source auth provider. And it shows you how it all works over here, right? So instead of me using Superbase and using their easy to use authentication platform, I would rather use an open source tool, get an understanding of what the tool is, and also one day when I have enough knowledge of what the tool is about, I can start contributing to this. You can see how many contributors are there. So I can start contributing to this tool because there's a lot of people that are, if you see somewhere, I don't know where they can show the amount of users, but yeah, I would rather have free and open source. And you can even see it was last updated 5 days ago. So you can see open source technologies get updated rapidly because multiple people, you're not dependent on one team in order to develop for the application or for the tool that you're creating. It's reliant on a community of people to help build it. So you can see I would rather use something like this, right? And for a back end, I can use, so if I go to Docker, so instead of using Superbase or Superbase and Firebase as a data storage place, and it's super easy to use, guys. I tried it out in the beginning and it was the simplest thing to use, and I think it would even be better than my implementation now, right? But remember the costs. So if you go on to Docker Hub and search for Fast API, you can check the one that's verified over here. You can see verified by publisher. If you click on that, this is Docker. All you have to do once you have Docker up and running, if you were to run this code inside your terminal, then now you have a backend up and running with one line of or one terminal script for you. So I would rather use this as a backend and then learn how to communicate this backend to my SQL server, right? Or a Postgres server or different kinds of servers that are out there. And this is also, and if we look at Fast API, right? So this is just creating the server for you, but the tool Fast API is also, let's go to Fast API. So Fast API is built on top of Python, or it's built for Python, and it's also you see there's the source code. So if I click on this, you'll see once again it's running the MIT license, right? So I can contribute to Fast API's API server code, right, and make things better if there are any bugs. So if you look, a lot of the open source tools have open issues, right? So there's 51 open issues. And if I was someone who's contributing to this technology, all I would do is I would maybe pick up one of these thingies, understand what the issue is. You'll see there's a whole community of people asking questions, trying to assist you with the tool. And then sometimes if no one can assist you, you can see this person was probably, there's it over here. I have opened a PR, so a pull request. So that's basically, a pull request is an update to the code base, right? With a fix. So you can see this one, that was the 24th of March. This guy is Moran Postma. So you can see he logged an issue and explained what it was. Then the whole community of people, I don't even know if these people are affiliated with Fast API directly, but they're contributing on this tool. They like using this tool. They're going back and forth, having a conversation over here in the comment section of this issue. And then you see over here, it fixed it. He fixed the issue. So this is what I mean with open source technologies. All right, people go out and they contribute. If you're stuck with something, you're not reliant on one company to provide you with information. Anyone that can help you with it. So Fast API is another free and open source tool. What other tool? Llama is open source also. What else am I using? So the MySQL, super tokens, certbot, that's another one. That's another good one to speak about. So if you look on MIH, this is not proper MIH, open to the right. So if you go to the MIH app, right, so you'll see that it shows that connection is secure, right? Connection is secure. So I have I forgot what it's called, but I have a certificate to show that this connection is secure. If it wasn't secure, it would look something like this. Every time you open up MIH, it could possibly have not secure over there. When you click on it, it says this connection to the site is not secure. Right? People would have to, if you've seen this before while scrolling Google, you would have to go to advanced and then have to click on proceed to whatever the site is, right? And they're showing it's unsafe because they can't guarantee that whatever this site is doing is not dodgy, right? So in order to get that connection is secure, what we're using is certbot. And if we have a look at certbot, it is, I'm 90% sure, but it is a free and open source tool, I'm assuming. there's it over here. Want to contribute to certbot. If we click on it, want to help with certbot is an open source project. The certbot channel in this thingy. So let's click on that to see where it takes us. Right? So if it doesn't take us to Git, that's fine. But what is this tool? View in browser. You know? Oh my word, I have to log in. But anyway, as you can see, it is an open source project also. And this is the tool that you can use to get that connection is secure thing on your server, right? So if you are using AWS in order to do this, I don't know if they would automatically do that for you or something else, but this is another free. This is another free tool free and open source tool to help you get your website certified, for example, right? To say that this connection is secure. That's why I like using free tools. There's no need to pay for anything over here. If I'm stuck, there's a community of people that can help me instead of me waiting for an update that's maybe every quarter. Like if you look at Salesforce, they do a update every quarter. It's not a free and open source tool, it's closed source. And they are in control of when things are updated and who contributes to the Salesforce project, right? What do you use for my domain? I use GoDaddy. Let's go to GoDaddy. So GoDaddy. So I use GoDaddy because they're one of the most popular ones. I tried using one of these local ones of ours, but it was quite sketchy and the tools that they provided inside here wasn't the best. So I don't want to do that. So let's look for a domain. This is the MIH test, right? And South African domains are extremely cheap, guys. Don't think it's like millions of dollars. We're talking rands over here. So what are they doing for us? Okay, I think they're searching our domain. So here's over here, mihtest.com. It's even 1 rand. Only 1 rand for 3 years to use this, to buy this domain, right? That's how cheap it is. So I use GoDaddy. GoDaddy has other tools like you can use, if you've heard of, the tool is WordHost. I think it's WordPress. I think it's WordPress. Yeah, WordPress. So if you don't want to code and you just want to have a information-based website that provides your customers with information, you would use something like WordPress. So they even have templates. So you see WordPress hosting, web hosting. So they have all of that available for you. And once you have WordPress on, WordPress has their own technologies or their own templates that you can use. I don't know why it's taking so long to load WordPress, but yeah, so I use GoDaddy because they are reasonably priced. It's not like they are swindling me because I'm South African. So they're reasonably priced and they have great features over here. But I'm just using it to house my domain and to sort out the networking and stuff of MIH. Everything else is done on our own, our own servers. So we just have our domain and the networking part all sorted out over here or on GoDaddy, and then the rest of it is done on the MIH server. So that's what we're using. And I think when I bought the domain for MIH, which is this one over here, it cost me, or not that whole one, this over here, that cost me, I think it was 99 Rand for the year. And I don't mind spending 100 Rand on a domain for my company, right? And I also bought another domain that I have to use for, I'll show you what it looks like now. Play Store Connect. So I can't use dashes. So you can see this one has dashes inside it, the MIH domain. But when you're creating an app, you can't use dashes. So I had to buy this domain also. Don't worry that it's backwards. That's just the convention of MIH, or of the Play Store and all mobile apps. But I had to buy this domain also. And it was also just 100 Rand. If you buy a domain with like .co.za, because we're not so popular, it's not that expensive. But try and get a domain with, look at this. Try and get a domain with .com, 58,000. .org, 12,000. The worst is AI. So let's say MIH.ai. It's the worst with the AI boom right now. It's going quite crazy. You see, it's even taken because people are just out there swiping up domains left, right, and center, right? So let me see MIH test and let's see what the cost is. Look, mihtest.ai. It's so much money. But if you want to get the popular domains, which I feel like you don't need to, I trust the .co.za website, and I think the people of Africa also trust the .co.za website. Whether the rest of the world trusts it, that's a story for another day. We'll get them to trust it, but our people trust it, right? So if you're looking to buy a domain, I would suggest GoDaddy. It's easy, and a lot of the, like, if you ask like an AI for help sorting out domains and stuff, it would normally recommend GoDaddy for you. So just to make it easy for myself, I use this one instead of South African domain hosting. Let's see what's there. I think there's one is like domain.co.za or something. There's it over there, domains.co.za. I don't really I used I don't know which one I used previously for a different project, but it was terrible using it. It was extremely terrible using it. And even through GoDaddy, I can even set up, once I have a domain, I can now set up my like email. So I have a company email now that's linked to my domain, and that was all done through GoDaddy, right? So it's very easy to use, quite nice actually. But let me switch this over and switch over here. Thank you everyone for joining the live. It was quite interesting today. I like the conversation, the back and forth. If you have any questions, don't be scared to ask that inside the chat. I'm not here to fight or laugh at you. We're all learning together. Even myself, I'm also learning. There's lots of tools out there that I don't know, and there's lots of things that I'm currently working on and learning myself. So I'm more than happy to teach you whatever knowledge I know myself. So thank you so much for joining the live today. Don't forget the iOS version of MIH version 1.1.7 is currently live. Go download it now. If you don't download it now and open up MIH, you're gonna get an error message when you open up the Mzansi wallet because of some changes that we made in this version, right? For some functionality. But thank you so much, and let's keep working hard, Mzansi. Claim, claim, claim.